Today's episode is sponsored by Billy Keel's Advisory Services. If you want to learn more about how to make your 99 optional, just go to makeitoptional.com. Once again, that's makeitoptional.com.
Helping you build freedom without losing your edge. This is the Going Long podcast with Billy Keels.
Absolutely love this podcast because I get to meet some of the most amazing, coolest, most awesome entrepreneurs, business owners that have backgrounds I'm just going to jump into today's episode because today's guest helps us to understand that the road to success, it's never a straight line. At the same time, it's the line that you absolutely create yourself. And today's guest has built a global corporate career, and he did that across multiple continents, which really resonates with me. He also did it across multiple lines of business like sales operations, account management, even general manager of some of the world's market leading brands. And he can go into that if he wants to. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome to today's conversation, the co-founder as well as general manager of 1485 Dental Spa, as well as dental spa clinics, none other than Jean-François Heno. Jean-François, welcome to the show, man.
Hi, Bill. How are you doing? Good. Thanks for inviting me to this podcast.
I really appreciate you accepting the invitation and being here, knowing you and understanding more about your story, the corporate success that you had, as well as what you've decided to do beyond corporate and take that and really build out your own goal, your own dream. I know it's going to help a lot of people around the globe today. So, but I'm just going to jump right in and I'm going to do this maybe a little bit differently today. Okay. Because there are so many things that we can learn and we can grow. And I'm sure you're going to talk to us about your backstory. But one of the things that I always find is the genesis question is, you and I both know, Jean-François, that every corporate relationship ends at some point for whatever reason. Yeah. And I was wondering if you can just start with us and share with us, what did the end of your corporate relationship mean? And more importantly than what ended, what did it actually start for you?
Yeah, so basically, I started my career 27 years ago, and I did most of my career so far in the corporate world. I was a consultant for 5 years, and then I was hired by my last client, Nokia at that time, and I spent 10 years at Nokia, and so I had done 15 years in the corporate world, and then I wanted a break. I just wanted a break at some point. After several positions I held in the corporate world, I wanted to do something different. And I had the opportunity to set up something because sometimes a lot of people are in the corporate world and don't know exactly what to do after that first life or corporate life, let's say, because sometimes it's not that easy. For example, I was working at Nokia and then Microsoft, and these are huge companies, and it's not always something that you can easily transfer into a similar business because you need a really huge investments to do something similar to this kind of businesses. So, for example, if you are, in my case, I was a general manager at Nokia for Colombia and Ecuador. I was head of sales for Latin America for sales operations. And so it's not always easy to start up a business that is exactly the same that the one you had. And in my case, I had the chance to start up a venture with my wife's cousin, because my wife's cousin is a dentist. Mm-hmm. And she always dreamed of doing dentistry a bit differently. And she had a lot of experience in dentistry. And actually I said, I'm very interested to partner with you to start this project under one condition, is that we really do things differently. Because I want to have a story to tell about this, and I want to make sure that the experience of the patients is going to be something different here than it's going to be what you will find in other dental clinics. Otherwise, we're just one more clinic, and I'm not interested in doing that stuff. So that's what we did, and sometimes so you have very different turnarounds in your life that you don't expect. And at the beginning, I was thinking, let's do this project for a couple of years. Then we'll probably come back to the corporate world, which is what I know how to do. But at the end of the day, what I saw is that there were lots of things to do. It's quite, it's full of passion, and you open. So we started with the first clinic, then we grew it. We had lots of success with the patients. You have a lot of satisfaction when you see people that are coming out of here, sometimes crying of joy because they change their smile and they can recover their life. And it's personal satisfaction that you sometimes don't find in the corporate world. And then we started to open the second one, the third one, and so on. And now we opened in Spain as well. So we started in Colombia, by the way, the first clinics, and now we are in Spain as well. And so it's a project that took a lot of time from me, and it's been like 11 years now, or 12 years, and I'm still here, and there are still things to do, and we are still trying to innovate and trying to grow, and so sometimes you don't really know what's going to happen when you jump into entrepreneurship. You get a bit caught by the passion that it brings you when you start a project like that, because it brings a lot of satisfaction when it comes to life, and when it grows, it's a bit like your baby, right? So it doesn't mean that when you're in corporate, you don't have similar babies, let's say, because you have projects, and it's also when it's something that you lead from end to end, a corporate project. It's also something that brings a lot of satisfaction and a lot of pleasure to do the things that you do, which is mainly the most important thing in your life, is to do something that you like what you're doing, and you enjoy the time you spend in your different projects. But that's how I jumped into the entrepreneurship. So a bit at the beginning, thinking I'm going to invest, I'm going to take a break from the corporate world. A lot of politics in the corporate world. That was a bit. I thought it was a time for a break, and then jumped into this, thinking it's going to be for a short period of time, and then I stayed there. So I don't think it's impossible to come back at some point in the corporate world. Why not? I don't know what's going to happen in my life next.
Yeah. But if you can tell the future, then I would love for you to be able to, like, you could be doing a lot of other things if you could tell the future.
A lot of money for that, but I was able to do it. Yeah. So basically that's it. So so in my case, I was not expecting that it would grow that much. At the beginning, we were thinking of a small business. Now it's a medium business, let's say, that's a certain size. And we have served dozens of thousands of patients already with successful treatments. And for example, when in Bogota, it's one of the top premium clinics in Bogota, where we are among the top clients of the main brands like Straumann for implants and Invisalign for orthodontics in Colombia. So it's a lot of satisfaction, because it's a business also that I didn't know anything of, because I was not coming from even the health sector. Yep. So and also that shows that if there are some people listening to this that are thinking of doing a career change or anything, don't think that your value is just in the same sector that you have been all your life looking in. I worked all my life previously in the telecom sector and technology sector.
Yeah, you know what? There's something that I actually want to, because I want to come back to that point, because you're talking about something that's really, really interesting. But you said something, and I really hope that everyone heard what you said, is that you said that you had this opportunity to be a part of a family business.
Yeah.
Because you said that you wanted to have a story to tell.
True.
And it's such an important thing. And you've also then talked a little bit about the corporate, but will you explain the reason that is such an important thing for you to want to have a story to tell?
I mean, if you are just one among the rest doing the same thing than everyone else, I think you're limited to a kind of operations aspect. So it means that you're just executing something that others have already done, and you're doing pretty much the same. If you try to do something different, you can leave your fingerprint somewhere. You can leave something to this world a bit different, and it's more satisfying. And it's also easier to sell, by the way, because if you don't have a clear differentiator, it's very difficult. In the health sector, competition is fierce. And if you are doing just the same than the others, then you start relying just on, for example, a doctor's reputation or things like that. I'm not a doctor myself. I'm not a dentist. I'm not a doctor. I don't come from the health sector at the beginning. So I'm an administrator. I'm a business administrator. So I need something that could vehicle values that could be clear to our customers. And that's the most important thing. I remember I had a boss, the manager I had, or the boss I had, call it as you want, at Nokia, that I most admired, Olivier Puech. He's done his career after that in American Tower. I was saying, I remember in one of the discussions, we were talking about the Nokia values at that time, spending a lot of time on Nokia values. He said it's the essence of the company. It's the most important thing of all. And it's true. So you have to have a solid foundation. And you also have to have a clear differentiator and a story to tell that will be appealing to your patients, in my case, your customers. Because otherwise, you're just doing something that is not very original, not necessarily very satisfying, and not creative or innovative. And in my case, I love innovation. I came from that world that was full of innovation all the time. The question of survival in tech. If you don't innovate, you just die. I came from this world. I really love innovation all the time because it's mentally challenging. And that's why I think that if you start up a business, you need to have a story to tell that you are yourself convinced about that it's working and it's true, it brings value. And you have to convey this message to the others so that they can benefit from it as well.
No. And so these are some very interesting concepts that you're talking about right now, Jean-François. And one of the things that, being able to have your story, it also ties into the differentiation. It also, I hear parts of, you yourself being from the European continent, and then you are living in, at the time, living on the Latin American continent, and then back and forth, and also having this innovation and this way of being able to see and view things differently. I wonder how much of that is based on just your own DNA, and how much of that do you think is based on the influence because you worked in a sector that was about innovation? Because there's some things that I can resonate with very strongly. That I hear you.
I think it's a mix of both. I don't say that there is just one of them that works. I mean, it depends on your nature. I'm curious by nature. I love to read things and learn new things, and so it's a question of personality, also character, but also your experience. Because, as I said, so you have some sectors like, for example, tech, where it's part of the culture of the values of, for example, one of the Nokia values was into innovation. Passion. It was called passion for innovation. Was one of the 4 values at that time of Nokia. And I think in tech, it's part of your DNA, actually, when you are working in tech, because you really live of that. You always present new products. You are in advance versus the rest of the people in the street. We were handling phones that no one had seen before, and that were not even on the market yet. And we were excited about launching these products. So it's a bit a question of this. And also, I worked in consulting in the past before that, and in consulting, you just sell ideas. You don't have plans, you don't have products, you don't have services or clinics, or you just sell ideas. So when you sell ideas, you have to challenge yourself a lot and be very innovative. Otherwise, no one is going to buy your services, to hire your services.
Yeah. And so that's also helping. So there's that, your own curiosity. It's the fact that you've been able to have different inputs from different continents, different cities, different countries, and then also different sectors. Now, I want to maybe talk about the other side, and one of the things that I really appreciate about you, Jean-François, is, you're very direct in your opinion, and you're happy to share. Now, you've also decided to do something that is very unique, not only because you've shared with us now, like not only did you get started in Colombia, but you've also then decided to take that innovation and bring it to a completely different location, a completely different continent. And so that's not necessarily something that anybody and everybody would do. But I want you to maybe give us, I want you to give us some of the insight that is also a part of the reality of when you are building a business or when you are starting a business. And there's so many different types of business, right? You talked about before you were in consultancy, and that was service-based. And now you're doing something that's physically, you have clients that are changing their lives with a smile. But tell us about some of the parts of building your own business that are different than what you were experiencing while you were in the corporate life.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, when you start, you're pretty much alone. So you have a few people around you. It's a small team normally at the beginning. When you are in the corporate, you have a lot of people that cover your back. Yeah. If you have a legal issue, you have tons of lawyers. If you have a financial problem, you have experts. If you have a marketing campaign to launch, you have a whole team of people here to support you to prepare something. So it's a teamwork that works at a large scale. And you can always find, in a large company, you can always find someone that will be an expert if you have an issue with something. When you start your own company, you're pretty much on your own. So you don't have the resources to pay a financial advisor, a legal advisor, and every time you have a problem. For example, the contracts. I read all the contracts myself. I didn't even sometimes review them with the lawyer. So a little bit of law at the beginning of my career, and I have some little background in that sense. I'm not a lawyer, but I know a bit of that. And so I reviewed the contracts myself. I really don't have ChatGPT at that time to review them, but it's easier. But yes, you have to do some work on your own, and you have to take more risks, because then if you make a mistake, for example, reading a contract and there's a clause that you missed and that does not favor you, then you have to assume the consequences. Yeah. But you may not have all the time the people that are going to support you, especially at the beginning. So it's a lot of work. You need to have your eyes everywhere. So you need to have a certain profile for this kind of job. So you need to be someone ready to do everything, to queue at the bank to deposit the money. Okay, when you begin, then you have some people that help you with that, but at the beginning, you do it yourself. And sometimes it's a bit shocking. You say, okay, I'm coming from a corporate position, and now I'm doing the queue at the bank with the rest of the people to put not much money, actually, sometimes at the bank to deposit the amount of money. So, but then you do a lot of things, and you have to just be ready to be hands-on and to do everything that is needed for your project to succeed. Just different from the corporate world in that sense. The positive aspect, difference of it is that you are free to do it.
Okay, go ahead. I was going to ask you one other thing. No. I was going to ask you.
So the difficulty, the advantage of the corporate world is that you're not alone.
Yeah.
The advantage of the entrepreneurship is that you do what you want, pretty much. You're accountable for everything. So basically, it's your responsibility. You assume full ownership, full consequences of what you're doing. However, when I was at Nokia, Microsoft, and even in consulting, some people were saying, well, we have an entrepreneurial mindset. We need an entrepreneurial mindset. At that time, I had already a business with my wife. My wife is an architect, and we were buying houses in Bogota, or flats, and we rented them for expats with furnished flats. And it was quite special, quite premium. And at that time, there was not much offer on the market, like just grown. And we were doing this business together on top of what I was doing at Nokia. And then I asked to the group, okay, great, everybody is boasting. Yeah, I have an entrepreneurial mindset, but have you done any company? Have you started any business in your life? And who has started a business, or who has a side business today, even if it's a small one? Yeah. And very few hands raised up, because most of them did not. So it's very different to say, yeah, I have an entrepreneurial mindset. Different to be an entrepreneur. Having an entrepreneurial mindset. So yeah.
Yeah, in my lifetime, I've scored the winning goal in many World Cup finals, but I've actually never been on the pitch to be in a World Cup final. So it's a very different thing to have the thought process, right? Which is one thing. And then the way that you can begin to truly have that entrepreneur mindset is you have to be in the game. You have to get in the game in order to demonstrate that you have this skill, that you have this capacity. But Jean-François, before we get to really how you're helping people today through the dental spas, what would you say is the key transferable skill that you yourself learned during corporate life that has made the single biggest positive impact in the way that your dental spas are running today?
Because in the corporate world, you're trained to see things as a business. I think it looks a bit simple what I say, maybe, but a lot of people are really good in what they do. So, for example, my partners here, the dentists, excellent dentists, brilliant dentists, but still dentists. So sometimes it's rare to find people that have both sides, that can be, for example, a great dentist and a great entrepreneur at the same time. And there are lots of people like this, but many times you don't find that because they see the technical aspect of the business. And if you are stepping back and you see it as a business, you see it differently and see how you can bring things to it that will make it better, and not just on the technical side. And so when you come from the corporate world, you have a lot of structure, especially for corporate consulting, brings you a lot of structure in the way you organize your things, you plan your projects, you do plans. A lot of people in the health sector today, they don't have plans. They just work and see what happens. And there is no plan. It's like a routine, but they don't plan the future. So that's something that the structure you learn in the corporate world and the organization and the way of working helps a lot when you have to start a company, because there are lots of concepts that are familiar to you that are not familiar to specialist people that sometimes try to, for example, a dentist that starts his own clinic and then he realizes he's overwhelmed because he doesn't know where to start with marketing, with sales, with finance, HR. And that's something that you're more familiar with. And I think on the other side, you're not asking it, but I'm returning the question. So if you take it from the other perspective, so if you spend a lot of time in entrepreneurship, if it was me today to do again the jobs I did when I was at Nokia, I would do it very differently. Very differently.
What's the reason for that?
Because, for example, you sometimes lose a bit the reality of some concepts. I'll give you an example. We did a launch campaign at Nokia for a product in 2012 called Nokia Lumia. There was an event that costed $200,000 to position the product again in Colombia and whatever. Really very little impact, honestly. And when you look at that, you say, okay, with that money, I could set up a clinic, and you realize the value you could create with that. And it's just a very small example. If you compare to, for example, off-site events at a global level, when you go at Microsoft, Nokia, or other companies, all the large companies do that. And it's considered something essential to motivate employees and so on. If you see it from the entrepreneur side, you see, wow, what a waste of money! It's a lot of money. They could invest in building another business. Sometimes they make so much money that they really don't care. They can afford it, of course. But still, I think I would pay much more attention to this kind of details. Sometimes you just think it's normal and it's good to do it, but it lacks a bit of challenge sometimes from common sense. Saying, okay, come on, it's not something that is really necessary. We have other priorities, and if not, we can put that money to a better return than some activities that we are leading.
Yeah, and you really get to see that across certain sectors. I mean, I spent the last 16 years in the enterprise software space. And of course, like you talk about Microsoft, it's very similar kind of thing. Telecommunications is also an industry that's very, very similar in terms of, although the margins are a little bit different, but it's a similar kind of style. So listen, I know we don't have much time, but I've got two other questions. But the one question that I want to ask you, I talked about at the very end, as you're the co-founder and GM, general manager of the 1485 Dental Spa and the Dental Spa clinics. Talk to us about who exactly are you helping? How are you doing things differently with your dental spas?
Okay, so basically we started from the patient's point of view, from the customer's point of view, instead of pushing the offer. So we said, okay, what's the real pain point, literally the pain point of the people who come to the dentist, and it's pain essentially. So
I don't mean to laugh, but yes, you're correct. I had a couple. Well, we'll talk about that offline, but yes, I understand.
Yeah,
pain. So sorry.
So the thing is, people are afraid of the dentist. 70% of the people are afraid of the dentist.
70
people, 70% of the people. Yeah, sorry. So it's a lot of people that are afraid, and 10% have a phobia. Actually, the dentist is one of the top 10 phobias of human beings. So along with spiders, snakes, you have the dentist. Rats, you have the dentist. So it's the only health activity that is in the top 10 of phobias that human beings experience. So it's you fear more to go to the dentist than to go to the cardiologist. I wouldn't fear more the cardiologist than the dentist. But no, people have more fear about the dentist. It comes from generally from traumas from your childhood, because you had a bad treatment when you were a kid, and it creates a trauma, and people are really afraid. So we said, okay, how can we do something starting from that standpoint instead of just offering services of dental services? How can we provide a different experience and try? Is there a way that we can reduce or even avoid pain? And actually, there is a lot of technology today that can help achieve that. So we created a dental spa concept that we didn't invent the dental spa name. It's something that was invented in the US initially for Beverly Hills customers, but it was a different concept. It was dental place. You have the left door with dental and the right door for spa, and you can go from one to the other, relax at the spa after the dental experience. But here we mixed them. And so we started to provide massage techniques for free prior to the treatments, which help you relax before you have the treatment. We use digital anesthesia, which is almost painless. For the most sensitive patients, we have sedation as well that is available, so you don't feel anything. You have TVs on the ceilings. You can watch TV and a movie while you're doing your treatment. It distracts your mind. Noise cancelling headsets to avoid the noise of the tools of the dentist. And all the design of the clinics is thought in the sense of how do we reduce pain and stress for customers. And we have eliminated phobias in some people that were not even able to cross the door almost to go to the dentist. And now they are coming back to us happily. So it's a different way of seeing dentistry than the rest of the clinics. And it's been quite successful because people, you start from their standpoint, not from your standpoint. And so you start from their point of view. And that's a bit what we do really differently. We work with laser instead of using traditional knives. We work with laser as much as we can. So every time there is a technology that we can use that reduces pain, we will introduce it.
Fantastic.
And that's a bit how it works. And we work with a team of specialists, which is very important because to make sure that we make no mistake, that the treatments are done with high quality. So that's a mix of experience and quality that ends up with a good cocktail for the patient, and they appreciate it and they come back and they recommend it.
That's fantastic. And today your dental spas are in Colombia and in Spain as of today, right? Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Fantastic. Well, don't worry, everybody. We will let you know how you can find out more about the dental spas that Jean-François is just talking about. Jean-François, just before I close, I do have one question to ask you because it's one of the things that I learned in 2023 and you've talked to us about it today. Like not every single event goes perfectly. There are moments, and one of the things that I learned is that, when things are going really, really well, you tend to just go through those moments because they're going really well. You don't stop to think about them. But when things are not going well, it seems like it can take forever because you're just only focused on the fact that it's not going well. I know that there's a certain point in my own life where I had to really shake out of getting from the bottom and move to the top. And no matter how many people, advisors, people who loved me, they told me the things that I should be doing, I actually had to get to a point where I said it myself. Like I had to look myself in the mirror and say, Billy, and I said a certain number of things. And it was from that moment that things started to change, that bottom moment started to change. And so I want you to project 3 years from now. Mm-hmm. And Jean-François, that not everything is going to go according to plan. There's going to be things that are go better than planned. And you're probably not going to think about it. But the moments when things are really, really tough, I want you to share with us, what is the one thing that that you need to tell yourself in that really difficult moment, so that when you look back 3 years from now, you can say, you know what, Jean-François, I'm really glad that you said this one statement to me. What's that one statement that you need to share with yourself to get you out of that difficult moment?
Okay. So I think in entrepreneurship, and I think it's also valid in the corporate world, in any work, any job you do, the difference between someone that is successful and someone that is not successful, because you have good times and bad times. Everyone is going to have it. It's impossible to think you only have good times. It's an easy journey, and it's piece of cake. It's not true. It's full of hurdles. So it's the road is tough, and for any job that you start that is challenging, it's tough. But the thing that makes the difference between a good entrepreneur and the bad one, I would say, or a not successful one, is the resilience. Mm. So resilience and courage, and you don't give up easily. I've seen some partners that give up quite quickly in the past, and the difference is when you don't give up. Yeah. Because and when you are facing bad times, you know that you have already faced bad times before. You know that you've overcome it, and the question is not specifically on this issue that you're living now. Is more about your mindset. So you have other issues, maybe bigger than this one or not in the past, but still an issue, and you overcame that stuff. So it's resilience, and you know that you have been resilient before. Yeah. So you know that you can be resilient again, and you have to be resilient, not stubborn, but resilient.
Fantastic.
At some point, you need maybe to stop. If you see that the project is not really enough or going anywhere, maybe you need to stop. But if you see that there is hope in the project and you are facing difficulties, I think it's a lack of courage to give up. Yeah. And if you give up and you have tried it until you could, then you can go satisfied that you have done your best. But if you just give up by facility, by easiness, then it's not very satisfying. And I think it's a question of mindset, and you need to be resilient. You need to be resilient. It's the main quality, I think, of a business person, be it in corporate world or in entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur.
Well, absolutely appreciate that. So having the resilience and the courage to continue, that is the thing that helps you to continue to make progress. And so, Jean-François, these conversations, they just go by super, super fast. I can't even believe where we are right now. But I think about just in the beginning of the conversation, you helping us understand, and through the over 2 decades in your corporate career and working on multiple continents and different sectors, telecommunications and enterprise software, different roles, sales operations, general management, sales. And then you get to a certain point where you wanted to take a break. You just took a break. And you know what? While you thought something was going to be very temporary, it's now been over a decade. It's been not just 12 years. It's been multiple continents, multiple cities. And you've recognized that one of the main reasons that you continue to do what you do, leveraging all of the transferable skills that you learned during your corporate career, like the structuring, having process, and being able to follow through. It's so that you could be able to get to the point where you know that you want to have a story to tell. And that goes well beyond money. And so when I think about you sharing the stories of people leaving your clinic, literally crying with tears of joy and helping to eliminate phobias that people have, I know that my entire audience is going, Billy, just ask Jean-François the question so that you can get on with it. So I'm going to ask you the question that my entire audience is wanting to know. How can we find out more about you, Jean-François? How can we find out more about your dental spas and be in touch? How can we do that?
Yeah, okay. Well, you can get in touch with me through LinkedIn or visit our website. So we have a website in Colombia. It's called www.1485dentalspa.com. And in Spain, it's dentalspaclinics.com, or in Instagram at 1485 Dental Spa, or 1480, or Dental Spa Clinics, at Dental Spa Clinics in Instagram. You can find us. And we will be glad to help you if you have anything that we can help you with. It will be a pleasure to help you guys. So, but come and try it. It's very different. People are surprised when they try it, because it's not the same experience than they have. You never get a massage at a dentist. Okay. So it's different. And some people think, it doesn't make sense. It's marketing. No, it's not marketing only, because when you do massage, you increase endorphins, you reduce adrenaline, you regulate your heart beat, and it reduces your sensitiveness to pain. Actually, it's a physical. There's a physical reason behind that. When you're relaxed, you feel less any needle than if you are tense. And so it looks a bit simple, but it works. And people like it also because it's something that shows that we care about you. It's not just about doing the treatment. It's just helping you go through your treatment in a relaxed way, and if possible, without suffering, or limiting suffering to the minimal that we can. Sometimes we cannot eliminate some parts of the pain, but at least we reduce it at the maximum level that we can.
Which we appreciate. And yeah, and one of the things I would also say to the Going Long family, don't worry if you weren't able to write down the links and all that kind of stuff. All you need to do is go to the show notes. We're going to make it very easy for you to find out about Jean-François's clinics, his spas. You'll be able to find out. All you need to do is click a link. So if you're running on the treadmill, don't worry. If you're swimming or if you're walking, just click the link. You'll see them right here in the show notes already. So Jean-François, I do want to say on behalf of the entire Going Long family, thank you so much for deciding to invest your time with me and with the Going Long family. Thank you so much.
One more thing. If you are in the corporate world and you think of stepping into the entrepreneurial thing, and if you need any advice, any piece of advice, please don't hesitate to contact me. It will be a pleasure to share good experiences and ideas. But it's a very interesting journey to take and enriching. Again, it's surprising that large companies should, as I said before, should look for people that have done some kind of entrepreneurship before. It's not in the traditional hiring grids, checklists of what you've done before to go for a position. But I think it would enrich a lot large companies to hire more people that have, because they do, but more people that have done some kind of a business on their own before, and it brings a bit of diversity also to the team.
Yeah, it definitely gives you a different way to think about it. One last thing. When you reach out, because Going Long family, you will reach out to Jean-François. When you do that, his last name is Heno, and just do me a favor, do yourself a favor, just let Jean-François know that you've already invested time, you've learned more about his story. So when you send him an invitation on LinkedIn, send him a personalized invitation so that he knows you've already invested your time getting to know him and more about his dental spas. So Jean-François, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And also want to say thank you to the Going Long family. I'll be right here preparing for the next conversation. So until then, go out and make it a great day. And thank you very much.